himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nurburgring in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed more forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. And Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start chopper. He's not second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the JPB Clio Cup Season 4, Round 7 from the Nurburgring Sprint Strecke Circuit. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Zach Sweeney. That was easy for me to say here already tonight. I hope you are having a fabulous time. 3.57 kilometres. Here we've got 11 turns. We haven't got the bottom half of the circuit, but we will, as you can see from the track map on your screen there as well, we will still have the main aspects of the circuit in the standings at the moment. Let's have a look at the AM standings, and it is Jack Andrews out in front on 349 points at the moment. Dan Lewis in second on 315 with Edward Parfitt in third, tied with Paul Godden on 289. Charles Kellerman in fifth place on 262 with Jason Morris in sixth, Wayne Palmer seventh. Then you got Chris Dixon, Andy Littler, Sir Ali Toon, Ollie Ricks, Mick Barry and Craig Jones. Craig is back here again this evening in the AM team standings. Currently at the moment, Genuine Recycled by Result are out in front from JPB Racing on 604. Tim Stickers in third on 532. Then you got Work Guard by Result, iRace Esports, Headwear by Result, Spiral by Result and Safeguard by Result. In the pro teams, we've got the Results X Esports Clothing Esports team. Pete Newman, Carl Hardy out in front by nearly 110 points. SRL Next Gen in second. We'll win it on Binnett Racing in third. Team Radline fourth. Results Clothing iRacing team in fifth. Send It and Bend It in sixth. And Photomedia.com there with Carl Jacklett in seventh. In the pro standings, Adam Dalmon out in front by 10 points. There with Pete Newman in second, with Carl Ridley in third. Then you've got Luke Maxwell in fourth, with Carl Hardy, Roger Morton, Eric Manavel, David Ayres, Carl Jacklett and John McHutchison rounding out the top 10. Mark Draper, John Bailiff and Adam McNally below that one. We've got just enough time to have a quick chat before quali with Zach Sweeney. Good evening, Mr. Sweeney. How are you, sir?
I'm very good. Yes, once again we get to enjoy what is usually a very miserable day in the form of a Monday. But we always have something to look forward to. Obviously, we've rested up over the weekend. We've got Monday. We've got the JPB Clio Cup. And we have got some absolute crackers in terms of the championship battles. And we go to a very fun circuit to drive as well. The Nurburgring, of course, the Sprint Strecke. So, as you say, we lose essentially
Coca-Cola
one corner.
Yeah, down the bottom.
Just one corner. That's it. So, it's not actually that bad. We've still got the Schumacher races as well. But apart from that, absolutely fine. Still a banging track and should be a lot of fun in these Clios.
Yeah, it definitely should be. 21 cars in the session at this moment in time as well. And these guys are doing an absolute fabulous job. By the end of this week, the calendar will be out for next season. We've got Craig Jones working on that, who is out on track tonight. He is feeling fit and healthy and is out on the circuit. So fair play to him. He did message me the other day. Apparently he was famous. I did question that one, but apparently he appeared in a stream of Matt Malone. He was apparently in front of Matt Malone while it was on stream, and he had great pleasure messaging me the clip that he'd taken from Matt Malone's YouTube video.
Was his name in blue?
No, actually.
Oh wow! Hey, Craig Jones, good job. He's gonna count that as a trophy though. You know he will.
Yeah, but then he messed it up at Laguna Seca apparently and finished below Matt Malone anyway. But he was in front of him. He was at Laguna Seca and he was literally in front. He wasn't in blue at all. So fair play to him. Welcome in Thomas1246 and welcome in HXLO.44. You got this Oat. Now we did question who Oat was. So if you are here, if you can tell us who you mean, that would be absolutely amazing, because we tried looking through the list and we couldn't figure out anybody who would have had that nickname. But qualifying underway here, Zach. 10 minutes, 1 minute 40, I think it was in practice on the clock. How's this going to go? What do we reckon? They've got that long run down into the Yokohama curve down at the bottom. How's it going to work out with them all going through there?
Well, the Nurburgring, I mean, it's got the recipe for good racing as such. Sometimes I find it to be like either one extreme or the other. Either there's loads or there's none. So hopefully these guys are more on the extreme of, let's get some racing done. Because obviously these Clios, these drivers, very raceable cars and drivers. And in fairness, as we say, we've got a heavy braking zone, more so in these Clios going into turn 1. Obviously the stadium section as such, you can definitely stay side by side for a good portion of that. The new braking zone that we've now got, obviously that slightly medium speed hairpin-ish run through, obviously the right hander that you can see most of them are now going through there. Again, there's an overtaking opportunity. The left, the right, very nice sweepers, not necessarily overtaking opportunities. The chicane, I wouldn't expect much from, although it is sort of maybe the heaviest braking zone on the circuit. It's really not an overtaking opportunity. It's very single file, and you've got to, use a lot of the curb in order to get a move done. And if you do go for a move, I mean, fair play, you can make it work. But it's almost a case of one of you has to concede, otherwise you're both going into the barrier as such. Final corner, not even an overtaking opportunity unless you're desperate. It's more so setting yourself up for this pit straight towards turn number 1. So I'm going to say the track position probably going to be a little bit more important here for race 1 because it should be fairly easy to defend around here.
Yeah, it should be. And I think, as you say, if they go through Vidal chicane side by side, they're crazy. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Because I think you will end up being off. One of you is going to mount the sausage curve that we've just seen out of Dalmont Mount, and literally it was in grave danger of almost rotating this little Clio over with, to be fair. So they've got to be a little bit sensible and a little bit careful on that one as well. As you say, that run out of the Beilstone curve up through Bogdan and down into the chicane is a possibility, but again, they've got to be alongside, Zach. I don't think they could go into the Vidal and not be alongside. I think they would be in more trouble than not if they tried.
Yeah, I think it's just more about picking your battles, and that's something that drivers have had to learn over the course of the season, is when should I back out? When is it a good idea? When is it maybe not so much of a good idea? And obviously with a variety of ability levels on this grid, of course. People have had to learn that lesson. Obviously, we know Edward Parfitt and stuff. He's he's got a lot of raw talent, but his racecraft and patience and things maybe been a little bit of something that needs to be slightly improved on. And those are going to be some of the lessons that you learn over the course of the seasons that you do. Again, just it's a skill in of itself, not necessarily specific to Nurburgring as a circuit because it's applicable anywhere. Just knowing when and when not to stick your nose in, even if the overtaking opportunity is a little bit dodgy.
I think that's the thing. I think all of these drivers have learned over this last season, and all of them have improved massively. Luke Maxwell is one that comes to mind. He's now doing 1:41.55. Not too far off that pole position. He's ahead of Adam Dalmont as well in the AMS. Jack Andrews is another one that's improved, but again, he's young and needs to maybe learn the same as probably Edward does, to be honest, because they're both young kids together in conjunction with that. And I think there's been some big highlights, some big movers, some big people who are able, should we say, to move up through the grid, and these guys have been doing it. They've got to remember next year, if they win the AM Championship between them, if Jack Andrews wins it, he's going to be into the pro section. So that's going to be difficult for him as well. He will obviously have the guidership of his stepfather in Carl Hardy, who will be able to help him out, I'm sure. But it's a big step from the AM to the pros. You've got a 1:41.37 and you've got a 1:42.28. That's almost a second that the AMs have got to find.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Sprint Strecke is a bit of a technical circuit, so there's sort of more opportunity to gain that time. But absolutely, I mean, fundamentally, if you're going to compete at the top level of the pros, even as an AM, you should maybe be within a second. I mean, technically he is within a second, but obviously only just. You really need to be closing that gap and obviously bridging it as much as you can. But to be fair, to compare the top end of the pros to the top end of the AMs, probably a little bit unfair. I'd say for Jack Andrews, if/when he wins the AMs and obviously gets promoted into the pros for next season, he should be aiming for maybe sort of 4th, 5th, 6th midfield in the pros. That would definitely be a good target for next season, and then maybe trying to improve as the seasons progress. Because unless you are like a miracle talent, chances are you are not going to go straight from the AMs into the pros and dominate, because you've got the likes of Pete Newman and Adam Delmont, Carl Hardy and Luke Maxwell, obviously at the moment the top 4. All of them are incredibly quick drivers. And as an AM, no offence, I don't really think that's where your target should be. Focus on winning the AM Championship and aim for a midfield next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I've agreed. I think I agree with you on that one. Not sure what's happening to Edward. I think he's got some issues going on currently at the moment. He is out on circuit there as well. But I think overall, we've always had this good split of cars, and now we're getting this Pro-Am. We could almost have a Pro-Am and an Am series, because they are so close together. I think, we've got Jack Andrews mixing it in with John McHutchison, Carl Ridley, John Bailiff, Jason Morris is not too far away, Wayne Palmer, Paul Godden. So technically we could have a Pro-Am and an Am category, really, with the amount of level of drivers that we've got here at the moment.
See, I think it would have to go the opposite way. I think with it being so close, we should just have one grid, just one long grid. I would favour that more than going for 3, purely because obviously just having 3 sort of dilutes it a little bit. Obviously there are more wins and more championships, which is great, but also it means there are less cars per grid. Sort of almost means there's less to fight for as such. So if everyone is really close and say within a second and a half, absolutely, I think we should just have one long grid. But I do like the Pro and the Am format. It splits it nicely. And what it does do is the likes of the, quote-unquote, the slower guys, or the less experienced, or however you want to phrase it, they have something to fight for. If it was one overall grid, they would just be fighting for, 14th, 15th overall, whatever. Whereas now, with the split, they're fighting for a P5, they're fighting for a P4, a potential podium, or even a win as such. And to them, that obviously means quite a lot. So I'd say, with the point that you made in regards to competitiveness and how close everyone is, I think that leans more in favour of one long grid. But I don't know. I like the way it is at the moment with the pros and the Ams.
Yeah, I think so. As well, it gives something for people to fight for. I think that's the thing when you bring the Pro-Ams, the Pro and the Am category, it does allow them to fight and give them something to battle for. I think it's when you give people nothing and then they don't have anything to fight for on a weekly basis, where this way they've got something to fight for, they've got something to compete for as well. And I think at the end of the day, that's how it should be. You don't want to join a series and sit at the back and not get nothing out of it. It would be just boring for people.
Yeah, and then, there'd be demotivated or unmotivated, I think is probably the right word to use. Yeah, I think that is just it. I mean, with so many drivers, there are only 3 spots on the podium. There's only one champion, right? It means that obviously over the course of a whole season, the people that have gotten really unlucky and are down in sort of 15th, 16th, 17th place in the championship are just going to be like, you know what? There's no point in me really turning up. I'm not fighting for anything. Whereas now, obviously, we've got the championship fight in the pros, we've got the championship fight in the AMs, the pro teams, AM teams as such. So there's something for almost everyone to be a part of, for almost everyone to compete in. Not necessarily maybe for a season, but from an individual round, you never actually know what's going to happen. We've had Sir Alan Toon leading a race for a couple of laps, right? That is unpredictable. That's something that we wouldn't necessarily expect. It adds a little bit of spice into the races. We've had so many surprise winners, so many good races, and it just allows people to be motivated to turn up. So many championships out there have died because there's 2 or 3 people in the championship fight and everyone else just gets bored.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's the thing with Pro-Ams. It does kind of work in conjunction there as well. We're going to bring you up the grid for race 1. This is grid set by qualifying. Luke Maxwell has taken pole position with Pete Newman in second and Adam Delmont in third. Kyle Hardy fourth, Adam McNally in fifth, then Eric Manifold in sixth. Jack Andrews seventh, Carl Ridley eighth, John McCutcheon in ninth, and John Bailiff in 10th. Then we've got Jason Morris in 11th, with Paul Godden down in 12th. Wayne Palmer, Charles Kellerman round out the row 7, with Chris Dixon and Andy Lickler in row 8. So Alan Toone and Craig Jones down in row 9. Then you've got Edward Parfitt, Roger Morton and Ollie Ricks at the back end of the field there as well. Luke Maxwell taking pole position here, Zach. This could be an exciting one with him on pole.
I think so. Really good result for Maxwell, it must be said. I mean, I'm really, really proud to see the progress that we've seen from him. It'll be a lot of fun.
Let's see how Mr. Maxwell gets up here as well. He is sitting on that pole position, nice, loud and proud. Sat there quite happily here as well. We're waiting for Carl Ridley, John McCutcheon, John Bailiff with Charles Kellerman. They've got to get on to the grid. So let's see what goes on here, whether or not we get this underway, as we're going to be racing down into turn 1. The right-hander at the Yokohama curve here, and will be Luke Maxwell leading us away. Get your drinks, get your popcorn, sit back, relax, and get ready for some great Clio action here this evening as well. The lights are going to be coming on. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the first heat here this evening is underway with Luke Maxwell. He is managing to get the hold shot there currently at the moment. He's leading all the way down into Yokohama curve. Pete Newman's got the inside. Luke's not going to be able to cover him off, and Newman's going to take the lead into turn 1. Is Adam Delmont going to be able to wake his way through as well? But currently all clean apart from Sir Alan Toone, who unfortunately has run a little bit wide here, but the battle for the front kicking off with Adam McNally and also Eric Maniveld side by side currently as well. Alan Toone, the only victim of turn 1. Zach, not a bad start for others.
Absolutely not, considering the carnage and chaos that can happen at turn 1 here at the Nurburgring. Definitely not a bad start at all. Pete Newman moving his way up into P1. Of course, you can see Adam Delmont trying to put a little bit of pressure on Luke Maxwell, who lost that pole position off the start, but still very much in contention and still taking some big strides forward in his overall performance. That pole position was an achievement enough. Let's see if he's able to convert it into a good result once again. In between, of course, the two championship rivals, definitely up there. Maxwell meet with championship protagonist Bread either side of him. Pete Newman now exits the fast right-hander and then the slipstream towards the chicane. Let's see if Maxwell's going to be close enough. I don't think so, but the top 3 definitely ones to watch over the course of the race.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite close enough this time around there. You can see further back, that's Jack Andrews with John Bailiff and also Paul Godden with Wayne Palmer starting making their way through the field. Oh, Jack gets that all a little bit wrong. He's going to have a slow exit out. Now he's going to go on a big defense. John on the left-hand side is going to get him on the final curb. He has got him done. Will Paul Godden and Wayne Palmer get hold of Jack Andrews as well? Looks like Carl Ridley's battling out, but they are 3 wide at the front here as well. Adam Delmont on the inside. Luke Maxwell tucked up in the middle. Pete Newman as far left as he really wants to go, but they're coming into it now as well. It is going to be Newman. Is Delmont going to make it through? Not this time with Luke Maxwell still just up alongside. Is Luke going to hold the inside? He does as he comes into the AMG arena section. He's still got that inside line there as well. He's going to hold the inside all the way round, but Delmont should have the inside for turn 4, and he does do that one as well. There's that great racing from these guys at the front, but it looks like Adam Delmont, well, I would say maybe got the job done, but I don't think he has at the moment.
Yeah, Maxwell not giving it up out of fight at all. It's only until the next braking zone that he's forced to concede. Even then, had a cheeky little look at trying to get an up and under. Didn't quite manage to work as they popped themselves out towards the end of the circuit. Pete Newman, though, because of that battling, has been able to put out nearly a second gap ahead of Delmont and Maxwell, but I think a crucial move for Delmont to make, as he's now the one to lead the charge to Newman. Maxwell, though, has to be on board. He has to stay with Delmont and just work with him. Suck it up, swallow the pill, and get after Newman, because you do not want to let that man get away. Yeah,
is it a pride pill, do we think? He's got to try and just sit behind him. That's the thing. We've got John McCutcheon has had a bit of a moment here, unfortunately, for John. There, John's on the outside with Jason Morris, who gives John, well, does that. unfortunately, there for John McHutchinson. So I'm sure the Scotsman is not going to be overly impressed with that one. Andy Littler battling away with Chris Dixon down in the arms as they're coming around the final corner as well. Some great scrapping taking place at the moment. Top 10 reverse for race 2. And currently Adam McNally is filling that space here as well as Charles Kellerman now tries to make his way past Charles from over Littler coming down into the Yokohama curve. Is he going to have that inside line? It's looking like Charles Kellerman is going to get the inside, and he has there as well. But John McHutchison trying to come back through the field. He's got all of these arms nestled in front of him at the moment here. Not going to be an easy task for the Scotsman.
No, not one bit. He's going to have to push himself and the car if he wants to find a way through, but yeah, you can see not exactly where McHutchison would expect to be. Side by side just ahead of him. That's Kellerman versus Littler. He's trying to get the up and under. Nice switch back there as he gets the better run. Inside line as they approach the next braking zone. There is also Edward Parfitt in the mix. He's going to fill the space and follow the Scotsman through. Very clever driving from the youngster as he moves his way up into 18th place. I say youngster, he's older than me. Either way, he's young compared to you, and that is really all that matters, albeit not very hard. Anyway, he's fighting away with Andy Littler.
I hope he is younger than me, because otherwise I am his father almost as well. So I hope he is younger than me there. Adam McNally scrapping it out with Wayne Palmer in the midfield. This is a pro and am battle. You can still see the guys behind going at it here. There is Charles Kellerman. He's trying to get through. Craig Jones having a go over Ollie Ricks. He can't quite make it through. Oh, there's a little bit of carnage. What is going on? Who's going to get the run here as well? It is going to be Edwards going to benefit from this as he tries to fight his way through. Charles Kellerman, and I believe possibly Andy Littler, Jason Morris actually might have had a bit of a moment coming down there as well. That's not the incident I want to look at. So it isn't him. It's somewhere in this middle section that Charles Kellerman and the 79 car. That was Chris Dixon. They're having a bit of a ding-dong going into the chicane. That is released. Edward Parfitt, who's up behind Mr. Littler, of course, battling away for the 7th place overall. So John McHutchison still can't fight his way through these 4 AMs that are battling like absolute troopers.
They really are. Great risk given, and we've still got just under 3/4 of this race left to go. McHutchison there in 19th. He's got a big gap to the next pro, of course, of Craig Jones, and it's just going to make things so much difficult. He's basically not fighting for anything at this point because each AM that he overtakes doesn't make any difference to the amount of points that he's going to score at the end of it, and the longer he spends racing them, the less and less chance that he's got an already a slim chance to fight with Craig Jones, even for an extra couple of points. So McHutchison just squabbling, really. I think the all-important thing is going to be for him to pass Littler, because obviously that's then... Oh, wait, no, it's not. It's race 1. So, yeah, he's got no hope, really, in this race. All he can do is work his way forward, get the best position possible for race 2, to maybe then work his way for a reverse grid pole or front row for race 3. Side by side, by the way. Parfitt moves his way past Littler, who goes wide.
Littler just completely missed the chicane there. I'm pretty sure there should be a slowdown somewhere at the end of this as well for Mr. Littler, and he is, as he's moved over to the other side of the circuit. I don't think he's the only one, mind you. It also looks like Craig Jones has possibly got himself a slowdown as well. John McHutchison trying to find places to go. Where can he go? He's going up the inside here. He's going to take it 3 wide. Charles Kellerman, Edward Parfitt, John McHutchison. They make it work there, Zach, but how they made it work? Well, God only knows.
Somehow, and there we go. JPB Clio Cup driving standards for you in a nutshell, really, with how good these guys are. Big launch on the brakes though from Parfitt. You can just see how much they're on the limit with all that tyre smoke being kicked up. McHutchison has their inside line, but Parfitt just trying to carry the speed. Didn't quite manage to get the power off the exit of turn 4, so has to play second fiddle. Well, 16th fiddle, I suppose. Anyway, he's there going through turn 5, and Jack Andrews is being classified as out of this race.
No, hold on.
Is he back? Was it a brief blip? Scared. Honestly, scared me for a second. He's fine.
He's still going. Okay. Yeah, not entirely sure what goes on there. I know there's a few people having slight little issues, but as far as Jack's concerned, he's still there. He's got John Bailiff for company. Up the order, sitting in 6th overall at the moment is Kyle Hardy, who's going to have pole position for race 2. Wayne Palmer will just miss out unless he can clear Hardy, of course, but that's always going to be difficult. Paul Godden in front of Kyle Hardy at the moment. He's got to get past McNally and also Bailiff to be able to get to his championship rival in Mr. Andrews at the front here as well. So if Jack can hold on, he will take some big points. If he can't hold on, he's going to be back into the clutches of Paul Godden. Good evening, Phil. Good evening, Mr. John Brown. I hope you are well. Craig Jones losing a place to John McHutchinson there as well. Craig sitting now 10th in class. McHutchinson has moved himself up into 9th. He's got Ollie Ricks, Jason Morris, Wayne Palmer and Carl Hardy to try and get that pole position, but he has still got 10 minutes though, Zach.
Yeah, still plenty of time really. What's that, about just over 6 laps maybe-ish? So there's time. Absolutely is there time. I wasn't expecting McHutchinson to actually do it, I've got to be honest, but obviously Craig Jones, he's gonna throw the excuses out, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got
my shoulder,
my device. Yeah, we're gonna hear it all. We recorded the next episode 3 of the Conclusion Unknown podcast earlier on as well. That was quite an interesting conversation. It did go on for a little bit longer this time around. So, yeah, if you're going to check that out, check out the Conclusion Unknown YouTube channel. I believe it should be up there and live now. As I say that, I will have a look. But Kyle Hardy putting himself in front of Paul Godden, getting past Paul Godden here. Wayne Palmer behind him. Are we seeing a little bit of... Are we seeing a little bit of team games going on here, Zach, with Carl being the stepfather of Jack, do we think?
I wouldn't, well, yeah, maybe, I suppose, but again, it's not really that, well, no, I suppose it is actually. Jack Andrews isn't a million miles away. Maybe Carl Hardy's doing him a bit of a favour. Maybe that's so he doesn't have to spend his pocket money for the month or whatever. Just say, no, I'm not paying you, mate, because I held up everyone in that race for you. Fair game, I suppose. But, I mean, at the moment, I think he's just driving his own race and doing the best to keep the rest of the arms behind. As here is Maxwell on the back of Manivelle. This is the fight for the podium. Yeah,
Manivelle got through over Luke there as well. So, unfortunately for Luke, he has lost another place to Eric Manivelle. It seems to be... the thing we've seen, I suppose, this season with Luke, he has a strong qualifying, he had pole position, and then unfortunately during the race he just goes down a little bit from his position. And that seems to be the thing at the moment here with him sitting in 4th, trying to chase down Eric Manivelle. It looks like John Bailiff and Craig Jones may have had an off. Craig has not lost any position, so I don't think it was a dramatic off. But I can tell you, Mr. Maxwell, that will be a dramatic off. As Adam McNally, Carl Hardy are fighting now. Paul Godden sitting in the pro lead. Nope, for the pro in the AM pole position for race 2. So fair play there, Paul Godden. Hardy on a little bit of a slide. McNally gave him a little bit of a gentle nudge there, but they all make it through cleanly at the moment.
I don't really know how to call that. To be honest, I think McNally was maybe putting his nose where it didn't necessarily belong, or Hardy was giving him an excessive squeeze. Either way, Paul Godden getting himself involved, but it's not going to gain him points, and it's only going to put him one position down for race 2. But then again, he's got Palmer just behind, who is for points. So maybe he wants to build a bit of a buffer zone going into race 2, or well, just for race 1 generally, and then maybe hope that Palmer doesn't get past and starts 11th for race 2. Therefore, he's on the front row, whereas rivals around him aren't so much benefiting from the reverse grid as such. But at the moment, in pole position, and this is Charles Kellerman with, is it this good old Parfitt?
Yeah.
Ooh, what's happened? Parfitt, what you done?
Oh, he was alongside. I can't.
Isn't it always these two?
Yeah, it's normally these two, or him and Jack Andrews, that have a bit of a ding dong. We say about being alongside.
No, I'm sorry, he's not. He's not. He's not alongside. I'm sorry. I know he's your boy. I know he's your boy.
If my boy does wrong, I tell my boy he's going to get a slipper, Brad. But you've got to be realistic about the scenario. At the end of the day, like, yes, he is my boy, but you know, we've seen it with multiple other drivers where all of a sudden people have come out and gone, he's alongside. He should have had the space. As Ridley there loses their place to Luke Maxwell. So I think it's who you talk to. I've got to be honest, I think it's who you talk to, because at some points I've been told, no, I'm alongside, my wheels are in front, But have a look at the incident. You will see Charles Kellerman lead that vortex where he did go out to the left and then tried to turn in. You've got to be expectant. That's what people are telling me every single time.
This is a right-hand corner, though, James.
Yeah, but
right?
You don't leave the vortex V that we already know and love. I think, you know, it's multiple times that it's happened that before with people. That's more of the line that we've just looked at from Carl Hardy, not that big V shape that we had. I don't know. I'm not going to get involved because apparently, you know, he's my boy and I'm biased anyway. But
no. I wasn't saying that. I wasn't saying that. I was feeling bad for you because obviously I was disagreeing. And it's your boy. That is a tap, and once again, McNally trying to fill the space that Carl Hardy isn't giving him. Bailiff just ahead of him as well. There's Hardy moving his way to the right-hand side. We're going to have to argue in just a moment because this is about to go 3 wide, going into turn number 5. It's going to be Bailiff through the middle, Hardy on the right, and McNally trying to assume the left. Who's going to get the better run coming out, though? That's the all-important one. Hardy's through. So, too, as McNally gets the up and under alongside and through on Bailiff. Lovely bit of racing between these guys.
That's the same thing. This is I think the situation for the variations. Carl Hardy did exactly what Edwards has done and has gone through, where Bailiff left the door wide open and anticipated him. I don't know. As I say, I'm not going to keep getting involved because apparently I'm biased and he's my boy and all this. And just to be honest, I don't care. At the end of the day, they've had an incident. I'm sure I'll hear about it either way after that, because it's just the nature of the game here as well within this league. And honestly, no.
Got to sort them out, James. Got to sort them out.
Mate, I've taken the slipper to all of them. Took it to all of them last week. So, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Them two have had a coming together. It's just unfortunate that it seems to be them two. But let's crack on now with Wayne Palmer, Paul Godden, John Bailiff, Adam McNally and Carl Hardy as they're fighting it out. We've got nearly 4 minutes remaining. There's somebody off the side of the track there. That's Kyle Ridley. And I think Adam McNally's just also made a mistake as well. And I've got a funny feeling he's off the side of the circuit. I'll pick up Adam McNally. There's the dive. Yes, Carl Ridley is too far back and he's off the side of the circuit. I've got a funny feeling Adam McNally breaks, goes to miss. I believe that was Carl Hardy there as well, and John Bailiff gets through. So action from these guys all the way through the field as well. Bailiff and McNally now scrapping it out after both of them. Well, Ridley managed to recover actually. Sorry, my bad. He recovered to 5th. He's now behind Jack Andrews in 6th.
Yeah, he is. So didn't necessarily lose place in terms of points as such, but with 3.5 minutes left to go, we got, I'd say, 2 at the line, maybe. I think, maybe. yeah, it will be probably. Yeah, it will be. Yeah, it will be. It's over a minute and a half lap time. They'll cross the line with at least 17 to go. So yeah, it will be the penultimate lap next time by Pete Newman, though. 4-second gap ahead of Delmont. Those two going at it. It's crazy. I can't remember the last time a race wasn't won by Newman or Delmont. I've got to be honest.
Not sure.
No, exactly. It probably has happened. It just hasn't happened for quite some time because those two are just so good when everything's normal as such, you know, from qualifying where everyone's supposed to be as such. Yeah, they're just really good at doing that. Godden, though, going slowly and crucially outside the top 10.
I'm wondering if Paul Godden may have got a slowdown leading out of that one there as well. Edwards just cleared Craig Jones there side by side in the background there with Charles Kellerman behind him. Just seen him on that run down into us. There is Mr. Jones. He goes to the left-hand side there. Edwards giving him the squeeze at the moment. You might want to start moving away. There you go. It does start ducking away from him. Craig Jones is going to make this one through. And Mr. Jones does make it through on that one. John Bailiff, Adam McNally still for company. Kyle Ridley has got Kyle Hardy for company there as well. And some great battling still as we've got 3 battles materialising here as well. Over the last 2 minutes remaining, there's going to be one more after this one, Zach. Then we're going to see the checkered flag, and then race 2 is going to kick in here with that top 10 reverse.
And can't wait to see how things get on for race 2. Usually one of the better races of the evening. There's McNally and Bailiff. That's 8th place, but 7th, of course, for the pros, because Jack Andrews is running really well. That's what we talk about. He's about, 8/10-ish off pole in qualifying, but has run really nicely. Smack bam in the middle of the pro field as an AM. So I'm sure there's going to be more and more success potentially for for the next season and beyond. So look out for Jack Andrews. 1 lap left to go here at the Nurburgring for race number 1, though. It's Pete Newman that leads. 3.7 clear of Delmont, who has slightly closed that gap. You can see there about a 10th and a bit closed on that lap alone. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to close the nearly 4-second deficit to Newman in such a short time frame. Maybe more to come, though, for race 2. Bailiff, though, on the back of McNally.
Yeah, trying to see Barney. He ain't there at the moment, unless Barney's gone on holiday. As Edward Parfitt there, looks like he's just got to slow down, and Charles Kellerman has just gone through there, unfortunately. Am I missing Barney, or has he just gone away on holiday?
I can't see him.
No, I can't see him either. I think he's taking the night off.
I don't.
Oh, he is there, but he's not actually doing anything. So there you go. Barney's just decided tonight's not the night, and he wants to have a night off, Zach.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe his arm got a little bit tired. Which, can you blame him? Poor guy. Has to wave that all day, every day, essentially, here on iRacing. And maybe his arm is just 1s and 0s, but it's got feelings. And those feelings need a rest, unfortunately.
It does.
Maybe he'll be back for race 2 and 3.
Well, hopefully he might turn up. Otherwise, Barney's just having a complete and utter night off here as well. John McCutcheon with Jason Morris. These guys are still scrapping it out. Newman's on the run up through the Advan Bogan into the Vito chicane. We'll pick him up very, very shortly here as he goes over, going to be going over the line. But great run here as well. Unfortunately for Maxwell, he's probably going to be kicking himself a little bit here for not being able to take this victory. See Andrews now as well, but here comes Pete Newman. Newman is going to wrap this one up. He's going to take the victory here in race 1 with Adam Dalmont in 2nd place. Is Eric Manivel going to get the 3rd? I believe he is here. Eric Manivel's going to come over the line in 3rd place. Then we've got a run here from Jack Andrews, Carl Ridley and Carl Hardy as they're coming down to the line as well. For Jack, make sure you get across the line there, dear sir. John Bailiff and Adam McNally are going to be coming down neck and tail. Look at this coming in here. It's going to be... Oh, Bailiff gets it from McNally, and he gets it by not a lot, shall we say, as well. But, yeah, some great action materialising here as well. Here comes Craig Jones with Charles Kellerman behind there, and then Edward Parfitt and Chris Dixon coming over the line behind that. Good race 1, no real dramas kicking in. Andy Littler and Sir Alan Toome will be the last ones over the line. So some great racing from all of these guys, and we're going into the top 10 reverse for race 2. Let's bring you up the results here from Heat 1. And it was Pete Newman, your winner by 3.3 seconds over Adam Dalmont, with Eric Maneveld in 3rd. Luke Maxwell in 4th. Jack Andrews winning the AMS in 5th, with Carl Ridley, Carl Hardy, John Bailiff, Adam McNally and Wayne Palmer who will take pole position for race 2. John McCutcheon just misses out by 1 spot there. Paul Godden, Jason Morris, Ollie Ricks, Craig Jones, Charles Kellerman and Edward Parfitt, with Chris Dixon at the back end of the field. Then we've got Andy Littler, Sir Alan Toone and Roger Morton, who did not make it here either on that one. We can bring you up the grid for race 2. These guys do have 5 minutes to grid up, of course, so the grid will look like this. Wayne Palmer is on pole position with Adam McNally in 2nd. Then on row 2 it's John Bailiff and Carl Hardy. Row 3 is Carl Ridley and Jack Andrews. Row 4 is Luke Maxwell alongside Eric Maneveld. Row 5 is Adam Dalmont and Pete Newman. Row 6 will be John McCutcheon and Paul Godden. Row 7 will have Jason Morris and Ollie Ricks. Row 8 will have Craig Jones and Charles Kellerman. And then on row 9 will be Edward Parfitt and Chris Dixon. Then on row 10 will be Andy Littler and Sir Alan Toon. As I say, I don't think we're going to have Roger Morton on to the grid here as well, unfortunately. Good race one so far, though, Zach. Not bad for some.
Definitely not. I mean, some people had good results, other people, not so much, but plenty more to come. And of course, either they're going to be motivated to redeem themselves, or maybe they go all, some of them are going to be, down in the dumps and have to pick themselves back up over the course of race 2. So many different narratives that could be pushed, and so much more excitement to come over the course of the next 2 races. Reverse grid, that's always going to throw a spanner into the works. As per usual, we're going to be tracking the progress of Delmont and Newman to see how quickly they can both track their way through the field.
Yes, let's see. They're normally pretty good at coming back through the field there as well. Let us know if you are in chat. Say hi. We do respond and say hi to you as well. So give us a shout and let us know how you're getting on here this evening, how your Monday's been, whether or not you've been up to much or you've just been sat chilling out, really. So, yeah, thank you very much for joining us. They've got 2.5 minutes now left of the gridding where they will be able to sit and get back onto the grid. What do you do during the warm-up, Zach? Do you just sit and chill, or do you just think, yeah, I'm just going to go and get a drink or something?
Yeah, I think the best thing you can do is just step away for a couple of minutes. Purely because you've had a week to practice, right? You've had all week to do your practice and get yourself, warmed up and ready to go. What are you going to learn from 5-minute warm-up? Not really anything.
No.
You know the lines, you know how to take the track. Are you going to magically find 0.5 of a second in the warm-up? No. All you're going to do is stress yourself out, is tire yourself out, is get more bored of the circuit. Whereas if you just get up, shake your legs, I don't know, jog on the spot, do some side jumps, whatever you want, go to the toilet, have a drink, pet your dog, something just to disconnect for a second before you then jump straight back in and you're ready to go. It's a hard reset. Whether you've had especially if you've had a bad race. If you've had a bad race, get up, walk around, hard reset, back in, and you're ready to go. I really don't see the benefit of going out during the warm-up because you're not gonna magically learn anything new that you wouldn't have over the course of the last week. It's like when people cram in for their exams as such. Like, you're not actually going to really learn anything new. All you're going to do is stress yourself out and tire yourself out before it even starts.
I never studied for exams.
No, neither do I.
Because I always found that if I didn't know the answer by the time the exams would come round, there was no point me looking any further. Partly due to the fact that if I didn't know the answer, then I should have listened in class. Basically, that's my philosophy. But clearly, I did listen in class. I didn't do horrendous in my exams, but I wasn't the brainiest kid in the class, I got to be honest. Partly because I spent more time, well, as my teacher put it, easily distracted.
Well,
I was easily
that's what
distracted.
for parents, even.
Yeah, don't. So many times my parents would come out and they go, distracted again. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? I was never a lover at school. But there you go.
Nice. Life story, James Pitt.
Mm.
You now look like you did in high school now, don't you? With your shaved beard.
I know, the missus got hold of me with a razor and took my full beard off. So if you do watch the Conclusion Unknown podcast that we recorded today, be aware about 8 hours later, my wife grabbed me and took my beard off.
Later, that's boring. Next week.
So here we go. Right, we're just waiting. As I said, don't think Roger Morton's going to get on to the grid here as well. We're going to have the lights coming on now. Wayne Palmer is sitting on pole. We've got 4 lights, 5 lights. Now we're green once more here with these guys battling away on that run down into turn 1. It looks like Adam McNally's going to try and get that move over Wayne Palmer down into turn 1. Palmer could also get done by Bailiff here as well. He has. Carl Hardy trying to make his way through. Carl Ridley once more again, also looking at moving up the inside. Luke Maxwell's in the mix once more, but it is Adam McNally out in front. Palmer's stuck between a rock and a hard place here. What does he do, Zach? Do you leave the door open or do you try and fight? What's the situation?
I mean, he's got a bit of a gap back to Andrews. I wouldn't really see much benefit in fighting. Hardy finds his way through anyway. All of these pros, chances are they're going to find their way through no matter what. Don't lose time. Just let them through. Stay with them. build as big of a gap to the rest of the AM as you can during this portion of the race. A little bit argy-bargy, too wide, too deep as they run their way through. There's Delmont as well, picking his way past. He's side by side with Luke Maxwell as they exit towards this fast left-hander. Maxwell stays ahead, still side by side just ahead. Palmer able to stay ahead of Ridley, only momentarily low, as you can see Ridley gets himself ahead. So too does Maxwell, and Palmer very quickly finds his way towards the back end of the top 5.
Yeah, he does there as well. Not a great lap for Wayne Palmer, but then again, Wayne's always been a very conscientious, cautious driving. Now we can start battling, as he's got Jack Andrews is the next person from the AMS in behind him there as well. Adam McNally's completely missed the chicane there. Wonder what happened to him as he's coming up. Was this under his own doing, or was there an incident involving Carl Ridley? They're going to take it too wide into the chicane. This is not going to work. McNally just completely missed it there, unfortunately, and that's that one. Oh, just as we come back to Adam McNally, that happens, and he goes off the side of the circuit. I'm not surprised he's off the side of the circuit here, Zach. They're about 5 wide at the back here, and 3 wide further up with Andrews, Littler and Dixon.
Yeah, even, well, these guys definitely not settling down at all. Andrews picks his way past quite nicely. He's going to go for 2.
Whoa!
Whoa! That is, I hope his wheel disconnected and his pedals were off. That's the ideal, or the only excuse, really. Well, yeah. John Bailiff leads the way ahead of Carl Hardy. Luke Maxwell the podium. There's the fight for the lead. Bailiff having to defend. Here comes the blue, red and white of Carl Hardy. Not quite able to go the long way around. Maxwell within a shout as well. 4 cars all fighting for the lead.
Yeah, scrabbling around. Looks like Carl Hardy has gone round, unfortunately, there once more. Him and Luke Maxwell have gone round. What went on here? Oh, bit difficult to see out of that one. Oh, that's even a little bit later as well, as Hardy. Where do you look here? We'll try and catch it here. It's a little bit back before where it was. Not much further up though here. Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think it's Carl Hardy's fault, but you can empathise with the fact that he felt boxed in. Maxwell was definitely going for definitely an ambitious move. Not a wrong one to make though. So I definitely attribute the blame to Carl Hardy there, but definitely a tricky one as well. That happened. Further back.
Not too sure what that was at the moment. Just trying to find out what was. If there's an issue there as well. Okay, well that happened first originally. And then it sort of materialised after that. John Bailiff there with Adam Dalmont, still scrapping away at the front there, Zach. So let's see how this all unravels as these guys are cracking on now for lap 3 currently at the moment.
Cracking on, and Bailiff leads Delmont, who of course is going to want to get himself ahead. He only managed 2nd in race 1. Of course, with Newman down in 5th, sorry, it took me a second to actually see where he was. He's there in 5th. This could be some good points gained once again for Mr. Delmont, who came in today, I believe, 10 points ahead of Pete Newman in the championship. So wanted to continue that consistent stride. Looks to go to the right through the kink. The space opens up. He gets given it by Bailiff. There's also Carl Ridley in the background. Is he going to be able to assume the inside left by his teammate? Outside line for Delmont. Is he going to be able to have the agility to go the long way around? No, he's not. Although he's going to give it a go. He wasn't alongside. He made himself alongside in towards the final corner. It's going to be Delmont trying to take the lead away from Bailiff, who's going to fight all the way to the bitter end here in race number 2, giving him the squeeze. Great racing between the pair of them, but it's Delmont in the lead for now.
Yeah, Adam Delmont there still managing to get scrap away. Carl Ridley and John Bailiff behind him. Delmont's all the way to the left-hand side here. It's a big dramatics there as well. We see, John McHutchison bullying his way through at turn 1 there, Zach. Well, brave move, should we say?
It was definitely a move, yeah. but it's caused 5 cars nose to tail. Here comes McCutcheon, who's having a much better race 2 than he was at race 1. He's fighting with Ridley, who goes the long way round inside for the next right. The Scotsman goes wide, and that allows Pete Newman to have a sensational run through, catapults himself essentially onto the podium, inside line for the next braking zone. Surely this is going to be a done deal. Ridley gives it a go. There you can see McCutcheon and Manetfeld just trying to take the inside line. Bit of contact between the pair of them, and Ridley sent wide.
Yeah, Ridley sent wide outside there as well. As we've got Wayne Palmer still within this mix. He's still got Jason Morris, Ollie Ricks tucked up right behind him as well. Further down, we've got Kyle Hardy, Craig Jones, Jack Andrews and Adam McNally scrapping it out at the back end there as well. So they're still fighting it out. But John McCutcheon in the mix here and is fighting it out with Eric Manifold as he's side by side now going into the Vido chicane. We've seen this not work. Are they going to make this work? Manifold concedes the position there, and McCutcheon has got through.
He has. Nicely done. McCutcheon, very good racecraft from the Scotsman, it must be said. He's doing a sensational job in race number 2. Has bridged a little bit of a gap up towards the rest, but Newman obviously getting himself onto that podium place. Also, that's Morris versus Palmer. That's for the AM lead. As you can see, Ollie Ricks getting involved also. 3 cars fighting for the same position going in towards turn number 1. Here's Ricks all the way to the right. It's Morris in the middle, and then of course Palmer leading the way. Ricks goes all the way to the right-hand side, but very late on the brakes is going to be Morris. He's going to try and assume that lead in the AMs. He does exactly that, threads the needle through. Here comes Ricks on the counter-attack, trying to go to the outside of turn 2, but he's got Palmer to his left. He's going to fight it all the way around. The agility of Ricks, though, very astonishing. He's going to have to do it all over again by the time they reach turn 3.
Yeah, they definitely are here, and these guys having a tremendous battle at the front of the AM field here. It's a nice little battle in with them. Bailiff is also fighting now with Pete Newman. Newman in that 3rd place mark. There again, chasing down John Bailiff as they come around turn 5 on that run up into Ravenel Curve, the left-hander, before they are starting to go past some of the back markers here as well. Andy Littler would be the most recent one. Pete Newman, they're fighting his way. Ollie Ricks still not giving up with Wayne Palmer. Great AM fight currently at the moment here as well, and doing an incredible job between these guys as they're scrapping out for the AM lead.
Yeah, very much so. It racing, it must be said, that we've got on display, and still over half the race left to come of it. And now we've got Ricks side by side with Palmer once more uphill in towards the NGK chicane. It's going to be, of course, Palmer that's able to stay ahead for now. And Ollie Ricks trying to launch the counter-attack. He's driven a fantastic race in terms of his craft, and now towards the final corner, the space opens up on the inside. He gets the squeeze, nearly tapping the pit wall barrier on the right, but in the end, it was just a phenomenal squeeze from Palmer. They emerged the final corner side by side for second.
Yeah, they definitely do here as well, and now they're still going on. They've still got Luke Maxwell for company. Maxwell comes over the line, fastest lap of the race on a 1:41. There, 8-1 from Maxwell. He's going to go up the inside of Ollie Ricks. Good job from him. Next on his list will be Wayne Palmer and Jason Morris as they're scrapping it out for the AM fight here. Ricks trying to nestle his way back through as they start entering into the AMG arena through turn 2, coming to the left-hander of 3 before they go out for turn 4. Maxwell makes it through over Wayne Palmer again. Is Palmer going to hang it in the inside? He is there, but Maxwell's going to try that outside line, and he's going to get through on Palmer, so Maxwell making his way through. McCutcheon and Maneveld here as they're scrapping it out around the Yokohama curve on the way up into Ravenel.
Side by side, fight for 5th, raging on. McCutcheon trying to keep Ridley at bay, who sends the move to the outside. Was he off track, though? I think he just was able to keep 2 wheels on the curb and thus abide by the track limits. The cutback, though, potentially here from McCutcheon. The better run on this straight towards the next braking zone of the chicane. Tucked up very nicely on the back end of the Australian. Ridley, though, going to have to go defensive, inside or outside. He thought once, he thought twice. He's going to commit to the left. He's going to be braver on the brakes as the Scotsman in that 69 machine. Ridley, though, not going to back down at all and sails his way around the outside to keep 5th.
Carl Ridley, the Australian's not a pushover, mind you, so it's always going to be difficult here. Maxwell has cleared Wayne Palmer. He's now got Jason Morris to get through as well. He's got the final 10 minutes to get through here. Is he going to be able to make this make his way past Jason Morris. He is going to get the inside line going down into turn 1. I believe he is going to get the job done once more. Wayne Palmer's going to try and go with him if he can. Maxwell's opened up the door there. Palmer could try and follow him through into turn 1. He's not going to be able to follow him through, and them guys are going to go out here as well. Nearly 3 wide with the arms further back as these guys are still scrapping it out for this win. Adam McNally fighting out in the mix. He's got Craig Jones in front of him, who's got Paul Godden and Jack Andrews in front of that.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tough job. He wants to find his way back through, but obviously Craig Jones, I mean, to be fair to him, he's doing all right this evening. I mean, nothing to write home about. But, you know, at least he's here, at least he's back on track. Very nice to see him there and fighting away with the back end of the top 5 in the AMS. Very nicely done to see. McNally, though, not really having the best of times in race 2 compared, obviously, to what we could see from him. That's the disappointing thing. You can see side by side there, Craig Jones on the right-hand side of your screen. Has to back out of it, though, down to 15th. However, that's going to make a very crafty reverse grid race 3 if you've got Craig Jones on pole.
Yeah, it definitely has, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it materialises for Craig there, whether or not he can be able to push away from pole position or what the situation he's going to have to try and deal with there being on the front end, and it's going to be very, very difficult, I think, for Jones without having the pace there, Zach, to try and get away from him.
Yeah, and, well, it's definitely going to be tough. I mean, for Jones, I'd be very happy just to sit in 15th, to be honest. McNally maybe wants Craig to overtake him as such. It's only a sacrifice of a position and only a couple of points at that, so it wouldn't be that huge. And of course, he then starts reverse grid pole for race 3. So these guys, very, very racy indeed, hopefully, of course. But again, if I was Craig Jones, would you really fight that hard? I wouldn't.
No, I agree. I wouldn't fight it either, to be honest. I would stay there and take the pole position. I think you'd be crazy not to be honest. And I think at the end of the day for Craig, he's got to try and give it all he can when he gets off the line there as well. So for Craig, he's going to have a bit of a mission, but I believe he can probably try and defend something. But we go back up front with Carl Ridley, Eric Manifeld and John Bailiff to win it, bin it, and send it, bend it. All together here with Team Radline of John McHutchison behind, and then Luke Maxwell closing in as well here, all at the same time. So a nice little team battle developing between the win it or bin it and send it or bend it boys.
Beautiful little battle. I've got to be honest, we've still got 6.5 minutes left to enjoy it. And they're all blinking away a little bit, but bringing it back onto the race second is fine. I think that's probably... Actually, no, it wasn't even Ridley. It was Maneveld. I'd expect sort of the blip in from Ridley, obviously, because he's Aussie as such, into the pit lane. Oh, no, a slowdown, sorry. Is that? That's Bailiff. So... must have cut the chicane. Been a bit of a naughty boy.
Yeah, the chicane there does cause and give slowdowns where it's not needed, but unfortunately, you take too much of the chicane, you're going to get slowdowns, and that will be the situation for these guys once more, and they've just something else they've got to contend with. I know there was a lot of issue with slowdowns here, getting it off the chicane, and they did get it there as well. John McHutchison on the back of Carl Ridley now. John Bailiff has dropped back 2 seconds at the moment here, and he's fighting out. We've still got Adam Dalmont out in front there, all on his own, with Pete Newman behind, with Eric Manifeld, who's got Carl Ridley and John McHutchison for company. So nice close battles developing over the top 3. We've got Adam McNally trying to make his way through as well further back. He's fighting away with the arm of Paul Godden at the moment.
In battle, of course, not really for points as such, but definitely for track position going into race 3. So again, if I was Paul Godden and you think I'm not going to catch Jack Andrews, let McNally through. Again, really much of a decision to make there. I mean, it gets to a point where Jack Andrews is out of touch. You let McNally through. Got front race start for race 3, mate. Of course, with 5 minutes left on the clock, still a couple laps for things to change, but all in all, been a sensational race and a great way, really, to mark the halfway point of this evening. Plenty more racing to come, though, of course, over the course of race 3. But now, let's see what McNally does in this fight with Godden.
Yeah, that's going to be the most important thing. Is McNally going to be able to get through? He is. I think Godden just allows him to go through on that one. So for Adam McNally, he has made it up further up than he was, mind you. He's in 13th place. with Paul Godden going to be alongside Craig Jones. These guys have had battles before, mind you, and they're still going to have battles again. John Bailiff still in the mix. He's got Luke Maxwell right behind him at the moment. Of course, here again, as these guys are scrapping it out. And Maxwell trying to get the inside line. Bailiff trying to block him off. Doesn't quite close the door on Maxwell. Maxwell makes it through, and it should be Maxwell's position there as well, as Bailiff runs in well deep, and unfortunately could put himself under pressure. Nope, Carl Hardy's a little bit too far back.
Yeah, on this particular occasion. But time still to come. But not much of it. He's going to be relying, of course, on people ahead to battle if he wants to close that gap, and also that Palmer and Ricks don't really put up much of a fight. I mean, then again, if I was Palmer, I'd find a way through on Hardy, purely because it's a little bit of a extra sort of safety buffer as such behind. It stops Ricks finding his way past, and we'll see, obviously, what Hardy is able to do in that regard. Here's Charles Kellerman back out on circuit, and right behind Edward Parfitt, as they're about a lap behind the rest of the field, and it's definitely poetic in some sense of the word. But 3 minutes left to go in race two.
Yeah, definitely is. Here we're going to have these two, probably about 2 more laps, but maybe 3 here before we come over the line to start this final lap. Wayne Palmer leading the AMs with Ollie Ricks right behind him, Carl Hardy in front with Jason Morris 1.5 seconds back. He's got Andrews closing in on him as well here. So these guys are nice and close within the AM fight. The top 4 battling away there as well. Craig has, unfortunately, looks like he's just been on track. It looks like Adam McNally has just got a slow down here, Zach, and unfortunately all that hard work that he's done has just gone out the window. But on the upside, he's on the front row for race 3.
Yeah, I mean, there's silver linings, positives to take. Definitely wouldn't complain with the front row start, especially when Craig Jones has been overtaken by Chris Dixon and is right now not benefiting at all from that reverse grid pole. He's going to say that's intentional and say, oh, well, I didn't want to get involved, so I let him through, so I didn't benefit, or something like that. Typical Craig Jones. Palmer and Ricks, that's the fight for the AM lead. At the moment, not really separated by too much. I think even side by side, they are jostling for position. 9th place overall, and for the AM lead. Let's, of course, track that. There's McNally finding his way past one of the back markers, but Ricks versus Palmer. It is Ollie Ricks that leads the AMs.
Yeah, Ollie Ricks are fighting away. Still out in front with Wayne Palmer currently at the moment as well. They swapped places 4-5 times before it was finally settled here. And this was all going down into turn 1. Good evening, David Ayres. I hope you are well. Got home from work, and Scary had booked a surprise birthday meal. So there you go, as it's his 60th birthday on Wednesday. So happy birthday, David Ayres. These guys still going at it, but that is how the overtake happened. And they're still fighting out. Palmer now going up the inside here as well. Off round the Bilstein curve on that run now, up through Ad Van Bogen, who's going to be able to make this victorious. But this is a great little battle here in the AMs with Ollie Ricks and Wayne Palmer.
Yeah, I have to say, great respect between the pair of them, showcasing what can be done out on circuit. Here's Ricks, semi-defensive, brings it back to the racing line. Maybe not to the approval of Palmer, but I don't really think there was much harm or foul given there. 1 lap left to go here for race number 2, though. And Ricks, he's done a brilliant job of defending and attacking so far. He's got 1 more lap to prove he's worthy of a victory.
Yeah, he has. Is he going to be able to hold on, though? That's going to be the question. Adam Dalmont out in front, who should take this victory coming round into turn 2, the AMG Arena section here as well. So Adam Dalmont doing a stellar job there. Carl Ridley has got his Send It or Bend It teammate Manivaldi in front of him, with John McCutcheon and Luke Maxwell behind him from the Team Redline boys there trying to make their way through. Ricks has still got Palmer behind him here, Zach, but for how much longer, that's going to be the question.
Yeah. I mean, Palmer's going to go for a do or die, definitely thinking about it in towards turn number 3. That was a bit of a half-hearted look, maybe just to sort of throw Ricks off sort of his game as such. Also side by side just ahead, I think that's Bailiff versus Hardy for 7th place overall, and of course in the pro standings as well. Ricks just able to hang on versus Palmer for the time being. He's going to be hoping that Morris tries to get involved and slows them down. I'd say, though, he's got a good enough margin that he should be safe.
I think Ollie Ricks might do this one as your leader comes up into the Vito chicane here before we go round the high under end curve for the final corner, of course. Manaveld still got Ridley for company. Ridley not being able to make his way through. Delmont comes round the final corner. He's going to take that victory here as well. Newman will be in second place. What's going to happen with Bailiff here as well? But there is Adam Delman. He comes over the line. Job done. Carl Hardy and John Bailiff are going to be very, very close together. I think it's going to be Manavelt, mind you. He's going to keep the position for Carl Ridley and John McHutchison, with Luke Maxwell not far behind that. But there is John Bailiff and Carl Hardy. The finishing line is that first white line there as well. He does come through. Ollie Ricks does take the AM win here as well, with Wayne Palmer in second place, with Jason Morris coming over the line in third there. So great job from them guys. So we've got Ollie Ricks going down into turn one. Craig Jones with Chris Dixon as they've got the run down into the line here as well. So great there from Craig. Well done to him. And of course the backmarkers of Edward Parfitt, Charles Kellerman coming over the line here as well. So for these guys, very interesting race. Last one across the line would be Sir Alan Toon. Alan Toon there makes coming over that line in that final place. So let's bring you up the results here from race 2. And it is Adam Dalmont, your winner, with Pete Newman in second and Eric Manifold in third. Then you've got Carl Ridley fourth, John McHutchison fifth, Luke Maxwell sixth, John Bailiff seventh, and then Carl Hardy. So full pro top 8. Then you've got Ollie Ricks, Wayne Palmer, and Jason Morris, your 1, 2, 3 in the arms, with Paul Godden in 12th. Adam McNally in 13th, Jack Andrews, Chris Dixon, Craig Jones, Sir Alan Toon, and Andy Littler. Then we're going to have Edward Parfitt, Charles Kellerman, and again, no Roger Morton there either for this one. Brief 5-minute warm-up for these guys. Probably time to go and sit, get a drink, and chill out before we go into race 3.
Yeah, just have a moment, breathe, collect yourself, and ready to go for the final race of the evening. Again, are you going to learn anything from 5 minutes and warm-up? Absolutely not. Why? Why would you waste time out on track when you can have a drink, relieve yourself, of course, in the bathroom? I mean, number 1 probably, number 2 if you're brave, and get yourself back out on track, ready for race 3. When you've had that reset, you've sort of calmed yourself down. The rush of adrenaline has settled itself down a little bit. The nerves are calmed, and you're feeling confident. You're ready to go. Whatever your result for race 2 was, wipe it clean. Doesn't matter. Treat race 3 as if it's race 1 and just drive as best you can.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. They're going to have to try and do that in race 3. They're just going to, I think most of them are probably just going to sit and chill out there. I probably would sit and chill, to be blatantly honest. I've never been one for getting up, moving around or anything. I just sit there and watch, I don't know, TikToks or something. You know what I mean? Other social media platforms are available.
That's what I do while I'm commentating, so...
Well, that would explain a lot, Mr. Sweeney.
What do you mean that would explain a lot?
Well, I'm just saying that would explain a lot.
Well, what if I said I'm watching your talks?
Still would explain.
At JP Broadcasting on TikTok.
Well, yeah, it still wouldn't be ideal, would it?
Well, I just shouted you out, so boom. You love it. You love it, James. You love it.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if I love it.
Oh yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. I'm only joking. I don't. Only when James is talking.
Thanks very much for that.
No worries. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. I wouldn't expect you like that, James. Besides, this racing's too good not to watch.
Mm.
But I will watch it on Tick later again.
Okay. Oh, dearie me, Zach Sweeney, you're a nightmare. 2 minutes to go before we get on to race 3. So let's see what happens in race 3. Top 15 reverse. Is that going to be an exciting one?
Of course it is. Yeah. I mean, can't wait to see how things wrap up this evening, of course, with how tight the racing has been up until this point. And should be even more fun. Just been ramped up. Race 1 was great. Race 2 even better. Race 3 is going to be the pinnacle of Clio Cup here at the Nurburgring. Of course, before we continue our voyage once again around the globe. And well, the Nurburgring, I have to say, it's not disappointed. I mean, as I said earlier in qualifying, it's very much touch and go. It's either nothing or everything. Thankfully, we've been more to the side of everything this evening.
Well, we have, yeah, and we've had some great racing. So at the end of the day, I think that's part and parcel, you know, of it. And I think it's provided great racing for these guys. So, you know, at the end of the day, what else can we ask for? You know, nothing at the end of the day, can we? It's as long as they're providing great racing, that's all that matters.
Yeah, 100%. These guys, though, they do bring great racing, right? And obviously with the Nurburgring, the undulation, the ups, the downs, the twists, the turns, the curves, all the way through, it allows itself to be great racing. It's not the it's not, you know, the most undulating circuit in the world, but it's got enough. It's not completely flat, and it adds character to it. You know, the elevation change going into turn 1, up into the NGK chicane. It just adds a little bit more to the to sort of the driving experience as such. And I do always enjoy driving the Nurburgring, because yeah, it is a little bit like sort of cookie cutter racetrack as such. Like it sort of ticks the boxes. It's still a really fun track to drive. Haven't driven it in the Clios though. Might have to do that, because I've never driven the Clios, and I'd you know, they seem like a lot of fun to get out and drive. Basically, essentially just little go-karts.
They definitely are. Right, let's bring you up the grid for race 3 here as well. And it will be Chris Dixon on pole with Jack Andrews in second, Anna McNally in third, Paul Godden in fourth, with Jason Morris in fifth, Wayne Palmer sixth, Ollie Ricks in seventh, with Carl Hardy eighth, John Bailiff ninth, and Luke Maxwell in 10th. Then you got John McHutchison 11th, Carl Ridley, Eric Maneveld and Pete Newman, with Adam Dalmont back in 15th. Craig Jones, Sir Alan Toon, Andy Littler behind that one as well. Then you got Edward Parfitt and Charles Kellerman. Of course, we know we have not got Roger Morton on the grid here either. So no Roger Morton. He hasn't been here all evening, but we do have Chris Dixon, who's going to be on pole position.
Let's bring it on. Jack Andrews down the front row as well. He'll be looking for an overall win. Here we go. 20 minutes, of course, of racing action left to come. And here we go.
Yeah, 5 lights are on, and now we're up and running, and it's green, green, green here. Chris Dixon with Jack Andrews, your front runners, leading his way down. Adam McNally getting into third place here. He's had an awful evening so far on this one. As you can see, the fight's materialising. 3 wide further back there as well. Craig Jones in the mix. Edward Parfitt and Andy Littler, Charles Kellerman, Sir Alan Toon, Roger Morton and Jason Morris. They're all further back. Wayne Palmer looks like he's had a bit of an incident. He's spinning off the side of there as well. Unfortunately for Wayne Palmer, he goes all the way down to the back of the grid. Who was that? That was, I believe, that might have been, was it Pete Newman trying to avoid some form of incident there?
Potentially was. We'll have to take another look at it, of course, and just break it down. But all is good. Pete Newman not involved in any major dramas at all. He's got Adam Dalmont as well just behind him, late on the brakes in towards the braking zone for turn 5. He's not really going to be able to find his way ahead of Carl Ridley, but definitely makes some steps forward. You can see we've got about 6 cars occupying the space of about a second and a half. There's the sense, the inside. I think that might have been Eric Maneveld on the inside of Pete Newman trying to fight away with him. Newman, of course, trying to pick his way past Luke Maxwell. Here's McHutchison versus Carl Hardy. Ollie Ricks just ahead of him. Jack Andrews leading the way, of course, for lap number 1. And it's a very hectic start for race 3.
It definitely is, as all of these guys do unfortunately battle away here. There is 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11 cars all scrapping it out. 3 into that chicane. 3 and well, they make it through. Not quite sure how. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 all involved there. Is that a 3 wide going around the final corner?
Oh my goodness me, these guys not waiting around at all to kick things off with a bang. There's Hardy on the right, McHutchison in the middle, and then, McHutchison on the left, Carl Ridley through the middle. And now, of course, they're swapping places. Ridley now assumes the furthest left of your screen. That's the furthest right, the furthest inside going into turn number 1. But what we've seen is actually the middle of the circuit is the best way to be. It's a short enough line, but you still carry some momentum through. However, McHutchison sails his way the long way around using the agility of his car, and the Scotsman stays in 5th.
Yeah, he does at the moment. He's got the hands of Chris Dixon, Paul Godden Godden there before he reaches the pro of Adam McNally. So there's a few more challenges on hand for these guys. Pete Newman making his way through with Eric Maneveld and Carl Hardy in front of him. Maneveld just tucked up behind him, of course, at the moment, but that is Kyle Ridley in front. They're still going 3 wide further back here. Still action materialising and still great fights happening here again as well, and still scrapping it out once more for these guys. So great action here as well, Zach, as we're on lap 2.
Yeah, they continue in their stride and continuing some fantastic racing. Craig Jones up to 13th and fighting alongside John Bailiff. He's going to go to the inside of this right-hander. Is he going to be able to get the move done? No, he's not. Bailiff with the move around the outside. Then, of course, you've got Ollie Ricks with Edward Parfitt not too far behind. Great move by Ricks just to pick his way past. Craig Jones not putting up too much of a fight. I think he is just out there to sort of bed himself back into things more than anything, which is fair enough. I don't really think he's too eager in getting too racy. Here's the fight for second, though. Paul Godden versus McNally.
Yeah, Godden's looking at getting racy round the final chicane at the moment. Paul Godden making his way through over Adam McNally, but it's this battle. Oh, there were 3 wide nearly again here. How is this going to work out coming down the start-finish lines? That with all of these cars battling for the same piece of the circuit, surely they can't all make it work consistently going through turn 1, can they?
Well, let's find out. Of course, we'll see. Hopefully, at least one of them is going to survive. That would be an ideal scenario, of course. There's going to get very busy pinch point at the apex with so many cars being collected. I think we just managed to find a way through. Yeah, we did. We had 2 people coming out the pits there. I think that was Charles Kellerman and Sir Alan Toon. Both of them didn't want to get involved either, and unfortunately just kind of waited once more as they basically just tried to come out the pits, avoid action there as well. That was Chris Dixon. I believe that was Craig Jones, who once more off the side of the circuit there. Edward Parfitt's been off the side of the circuit as well. I believe this may have been all on his own, but I think it's just going to be the slightest little off. There you go, as he carries on once more. Paul Godden, though, sitting in second place overall. Yeah, doing a really good job. It's a 1-2. For the AMs as such, which is great to see. Once again, demonstrating how well the AMs can mix it up with the pros, definitely on their day. And now, through the kink here, you can see McNally maybe trying to launch a counter-attack, but they've got McCutchinson not a million miles behind. Paul Godden onto the brakes and stays ahead, however, moves under braking. That was naughty there, after a save from Paul Godden. Was it in the braking zone? That's going to be the question. I don't think he's completely in the braking zone there, Zach, before he did that. I don't know. I've never got that one right either, as Paul Godden does move over, allows Pete Newman and John McCutchinson through as well. Do we think he moved under braking zone, or do we think he was moving before he got in the braking zone? I don't know. Side by side here, here's Newman versus McCutcheon. This is for position. And then, of course, the lead in the pros, which isn't the lead overall, for a change. Side by side in the background as well. That's Maxwell versus Ridley. And now you can see, you can see running through turn number 2. It's Maxwell on the outside, really showcasing his improvements. And now in towards turn number 3, he's got to do it all over again. That's the problem being so good through turn 2 on the outside. You've then got to do it all over through turn 3, but then you're rewarded with the inside through 4. Yeah, that's the way it swings, though, isn't it? We've seen that plenty of time. Inside for one, outside for the other. Where's the best place to position your car? Well, at the moment, for Adam Dalmont, he's unfortunately not positioned his car. He's up 5 places. He is in 10th. Mind you, he does still have 14 minutes, and I wouldn't put anything past him at the moment to start making that position forward. Manivel, Dixon, and Jones scrapping it out. There's Jones there as well. Some great action materialising from these guys, starting to get a little bit more spread out as Eric Manifield and Wayne Palmer go side by side through the Bilstein curve on that run up through Advan Bogan there as well and into the Vidal chicane. So great action materialising from everybody here as well, and we'll see how this one pans out. But it is Luke Maxwell trying to get away from Carl Ridley, trying to get hold of Paul Godden. Yeah, very much so, and still plenty more racing to come. What have we got? About 13 minutes left of this race, and plenty more laps between now and the flag. I have to say, not at all disappointed with the proceedings this evening. Very respectful stuff, of course, for the most part. And now we're following on Luke Maxwell. He's trying to chase Godden, who himself losing touch to McCutcheon, and therefore, you know, the fight for the lead. Jack Andrews, who's now 3 seconds clear of the pack. I mean, versus Pete Newman, that's not that big of a gap, but it's a safety buffer. I mean, a podium overall is not out of the question, I would say, for Jack Andrews.
Yeah, I think so as well, to be blatantly honest. He's currently doing 142.4s, 142.5s last time around. We'll see what the lap times will be this time, of course. John McCutcheon there, he's got Pete Newman in front. He's trying to stay with him. Paul Godden's got Maxwell, Ridley, Bailiff and Hardy. So he doesn't really want to lose any more positions on the guys in front, does he? Really needs to hold his position at the moment. So if Jack Andrews does come back into play, and it looks like he might at the moment because he's losing a lot of time here. He's 2.4 seconds now. That was 3.5 before the start of the lap. 2.3, is he just losing time on a straight or something? 2.3, it's still coming down as well. 2.6, 2.5. And I think Mr. Andrews could be under attack very, very shortly as Paul Godden is going side by side with Luke Maxwell. Maxwell makes it through there.
Yeah, nicely done from Luke Maxwell. Again, good steps forward in his improvement, and once again, good results. Wasn't just a fluke throughout the season. He's there consistently, side by side. There's Carl Ridley on the inside of Paul Godden, who might well just have to concede this position, and he does. But again, still second place overall in the AMS. Pete Newman set the fast lap of the race at 41.7, 1.2 seconds quicker than Jack Andrews. I don't know how he's so quick straight, maybe just better exits, because I don't really think there's much setup changes that you can do to make these Clio more slippery in a straight line. Because, yeah, you know, there's not really much option unless you make it lower, you make the wheels more parallel so there's less drag. You can't really adjust much in terms of aero to make it less draggy. So but it must just be better exits.
That's the only thing I could think of, to be honest with you, as Adam Dalmont's trying to go around the outside of John Bailiff. He is going to have the inside for turn 4 as they run down now as well. Carl Hardy's sitting in behind him. Dalmont's going to cover off the inside. Hardy really can't go anywhere. I suppose he could have taken a big send. He goes side by side with Bailiff. He has made it through over Bailiff, and unfortunately for John Bailiff, he loses 2 positions there in short, quick succession with Carl Ridley now trying to get hold of Luke Maxwell. Paul Godden has got the ever-looming Adam Dalmont coming up to him here as well. Andrews only got a gap of 1.2 seconds at the moment over Pete Newman. The gap's coming down there. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen about this one as it goes into the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, final half of a race of this evening. Now we've got Godden versus Hardy, and also Adam Dalmont just ahead, making some good strides forward. Been very to and fro between Newman and Dalmont. I think overall Dalmont has scored better. If things were to stay as they are, of course, Dalmont could well, I'd assume, is going to catch Ridley, probably Maxwell as well. So it might still be very close in terms of the aggregate points for the round. Still with both of them fighting really nicely in the championship. But another 1.3 seconds taken up by Pete Newman on Jack Andrews, that lap alone. Now it's less than 3/4 of a second. Pete Newman, he's going to be launching an attack anytime soon, surely.
There he is, and I think he's bringing John McCutcheon for company. He is here as well. It's on Luke Maxwell, whether Maxwell's going to get hold of Andrews and whether or not it's going to be in the clutches of Paul Godden by the end. It's a big ask, mind you, from Godden for Andrews, though. The gap's 8 seconds. It's not a million miles away, but it could be further enough that he's going to have to try and... well, I don't really know. Can he get him, though, for Paul Godden? Can he get 8 seconds over the next 10 minutes? It's a big ask.
I don't... it's a tricky one. Absolutely. We've got, well, yeah, was it? Well, less than 10 minutes, less than 9 minutes now. So time definitely not on the side. And that's the problem with it being sort of 20-minute races as such. You don't really have time to recover or catch or anything along those lines. So it's always going to be tricky. But that's the sort of the way the cookie crumbles when it comes to sprint races as such, is the fact you've got to be on the ball from lap 1, otherwise you're going to suffer. Yeah,
he did. But as you say, not really sure how Jack's going to be able to cope with this. Does he allow Pete Newman and McCutcheon through? Does he fight them? If he fights them, it brings in Luke Maxwell. You know what I mean? It's a lot of decisions.
I understand, say, if Jack Andrews was like in 5th or whatever, and wouldn't fight pros then. Like, I get that. But the sentiment of winning overall, I mean, yeah, if he finishes first or 8th overall at this rate, doesn't really make much of a difference. He's still going to win the AMS and score the same amount of points. But the sentiment of winning this race surely carries more weight.
Yeah, but how much? You don't want to hold them up for too long, because at the end of the day, you'll lose time to the people behind. It's now coming down to 3.3 with Maxwell there as well. So for Andrews, he's got to think logically what's going to be the best way of being able to do this. So I think from his point of view, it's all going to be what's going to be the easiest thing and the easiest way of dealing with it. It's coming down again. It's nearly at 3 seconds to the guys behind them, so they are slowly catching 2.8 now as well. They're pulling out chunks over these guys, and they're still scrapping away. Andrews does finally lose. No, he doesn't. He decides to come back at Pete Newman, and that's going to bring them into play even more here.
Oh my goodness me, there we go. Could be a 3-wide for the overall lead. I think we might. Luke Maxwell, no, sorry, it's not. It's McCutcheon. They've got the same livery. Always confuse those two, but it's McCutcheon that now picks his way past Newman. Which way is he going to go in this fight with Andrews, though, who is just going to be able to stay ahead? I think Newman is going to commit to go late on the brakes, though. Let's have a look. He is inside line. Andrews, though, holding it the long way around, potentially opens the door for McCutcheon to nip his way on the inside through the final corner. But no! A slowdown for Andrews. He's still leading the way in the AMS, but he's off the overall podium.
There he is, and now he's got Kyle Ridley closing up as well, and Adam Dalmont is going to go through, I think. He's not going to be able to get rid of this. He's going to have to try and get rid of that slowdown. There's Paul Godden in the background. Godden now has got a gap to Andrews of 6.5 seconds. Is he going to be able to make that up as Andrews now, it looks like he's got rid of his slowdown and has got Kyle Ridley with Adam Dalmont behind them there. John Brown at YouTube chat. Hold him up. Adam's on his way, he says. So at the end of the day, it can only be that Adam is closing up here as well. But for Paul Godden, got to try and gain 5.96 seconds just about to try and get hold of Jack here for this AM fight and this AM win going into the last 5 minutes. It's a big ask for Paul Godden at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Godden I don't really think is able to see much more than second place in the AMS unless Andrews continues his run of mistakes and slowdowns and things like that. His aim has to be solely on Ollie Ricks and staying ahead of Ricks for the remainder of this race, which is going to be easier said than done. Mannetveld right behind him, Ricks right behind Mannetveld. Godden, his aim has to be a podium, right? That's the bare minimum. It's the bare minimum. Of course, you're going to want as much as you can get, which is going to be second. There's the move, Dalmont on the inside of Andrews. How hard is Andrews going to fight this one? You're not really fighting for sentiment at this point. You're better off tucking him behind. Exactly what he does. Dalmont able to continue his charge forwards.
But now he's only got a gap of 4 seconds. What's he got? 5 seconds to Paul Godden. So it has come down, but it is a big ask for 5 minutes here. What does Jack do with the fact that he's got technically his stepdad behind him? Does he hold his stepdad up, or does he allow him to go through? Well, we'll see as these guys are battling it out. Manneveld's on the inside of Paul Godden. First thing he doesn't really want is to be losing time at the moment for Paul. He's got to try and close forward. He's got Ollie Ricks right behind him there as well. That's second place in the podium in the AMS here. 4 minutes left on the clock. We're going to have about 3 laps. Maneveld does get through on Paul Godden. He's now relying on Maneveld to pull him forward. He's still got that 6-second gap.
Yeah, very nice little buffer zone to use as such, and just solidify himself where he is. Don't really need to take much risk. Not long left to go in this race at all. Not fighting for anything beyond that. So just use it. Just chill. Drive your way to the checker flag. Drive your way to the end of this evening. Should be a-okay. There's Ollie Ricks and Paul Godden, though. There definitely isn't a 6-second gap separating those two. Godden having to go defensive if he wants to keep that second place in the AMS. But Ollie Ricks unable to find a way through for now, and time definitely not on his side if he wants to find an opportunity through.
Definitely not. They've got now 6.7 seconds up to Andrews there as well. Who's got Dalmont in front, Hardy behind him at the moment. Dalmont's a long way up the road. He's fighting away with Kyle Ridley. He needs to get this place as well for Adam Dalmont. He hasn't got a massive gap to the guys in front, mind you, but it could be big enough that over the last 3 minutes here, he might not be able to get any further up than this. Is this Adam Dalmont cementing his place in 4th overall, up 11 places?
I mean, it's been a great race for him and a great race and a great evening overall. He hasn't, I wouldn't say he's got time to catch Maxwell. Definitely not. Maybe at the start of the season, yeah. Not at this point in the season, though. Maxwell has definitely improved on that. Yeah, Dalmont's lap times, as good as they are not quick enough, or actually, in fact, a lot slower than Maxwell on that previous occasion. So he's going to have to cement 4th, keep Ridley behind, and take what he can get in terms of points.
Yeah, that's really all he can do, I think. I don't think he's going to be able to get a hold of that one. Bailiff and is gone off the side of the circuit. That's going to allow Ollie Ricks to go up the inside of Paul Godden there for John Bailiff. So Paul Godden and Ollie Ricks still side by side, not doing themselves any favours though, with the fight to Mr. Andrews up front, opening up to 7.75 seconds. So unfortunately there, not an ideal scenario.
No, it really isn't. And again, with so little time left in the race, not really much that you can do about it. So you just have to hunker down with what you've got. This is really the time where you start to settle. As such, if you're with big gaps in front or behind, you just settle. You don't push, you don't risk anything or anything like that. But if you're still locked in a fight like we've got here with not necessarily Andrews and Hardy, but Ricks and Godden definitely, you still fight for those. You still push tooth and nail, because we are going on to the final lap of the race in a few moments' time. Newman ahead of McCutcheon, both of them not really separated by much. They begin to battle. Maxwell is into the equation, and McCutcheon definitely desperate for it, because who is better to beat than Pete Newman?
Yeah, and it's a big scalp for McCutcheon. He's not had the season that I think he expected to have here as well. They go on to the final lap now. So for McCutcheon, I think this would be a big win if he can get Pete Newman. There's Barney, just stood there with his back turned to the race, and he's waving the white flag anymore as McCutcheon does go through on Pete Newman. Is there any other opportunities for Newman to try and get this back, of course?
Yeah, of course there is. Of course there is. Into the final corner, he can absolutely send the move. Maybe even before that, if the opportunity arises. I mean, he's just got to close the gap as best he can, stay all over the rear end of him. But even then, Newman's gaining points on Dalmont. And now off the exit of turn 4 into 5, no way through for Newman on this occasion. He's going to have to wait the next heavy braking zone into the chicane, and that is going to be a risk.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think it's going to be risk versus reward with Pete Newman. He's not silly though, Zach. I think at the end of the day, he would probably just stay there and take the points if he could. Allow John McCutcheon, which I think is going to be the first, all right, or not allow John McCutcheon there as well as he tries to go up the inside, gets a little bit squeezed. McCutcheon not giving it up easy. I think this is going to be McCutcheon's first win of the season, if I'm not mistaken, here as well. With Newman going to be finishing in 2nd place, with Maxwell behind in the pros in 3rd, and it looks like Andrews should take the win in the AMS. He's got Carl Hardy for company, but I think it is going to be John McCutcheon. He's going to be trying to nestle off that inside line going around the final corner. It is going to be a win for the Scotsman. He will take this victory. There's the finishing line there. Great win for him, and awesome victory there for Mr. Andrews as well. He comes over the line side by side with Mr. Hardy. John Bailiff, they're going to be able to come over the line 8th in class, 11th overall. Some great racing from everybody here as well, Zach, and race 3 didn't disappoint either.
Really didn't. And McCutcheon taking such a well-deserved win. Great racing between everyone. Maxwell rounding off the podium as well, not a million miles off. Huge news for the championship, of course, with Newman, I believe, outscoring Dalmont as a whole. I'm not sure. It's going to be close. Of course, another round in the books, and yet more rivalries to display between the two of them. And yeah, Jack Andrews, another victory in the AMS, taking 4 points once again. A lot of drama, a lot of chaos, but a lot of fun along the way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're waiting for St. Alan Toon, who's come over the line now for Tooney once more, and we can bring you up the results of race 3. A stellar job from everybody here as well, and here are the results from race 3. John McCutcheon takes the victory, his first victory, if I'm not mistaken, of the season. Pete Newman in 2nd, with Luke Maxwell in 3rd, Adam Dalmont in 4th, and Carl Ridley in 5th. Jack Andrews takes the win in the AMs with Carl Hardy in 7th and Maniveld in 8th. Then you got Ollie Ricks and Paul Godden round off the AM podium. John Bailiff, Wayne Palmer, Craig Jones, Chris Dixon and Andy Littler, with Charles Kellerman and Alan Toon 1 lap down. Edward Parfitt, Alan McNally and Roger Morton did not finish, neither did Jason Morris. So there you go. Another round over and done with here as well. We will be going on now for the next round. Is certainly not that situation. I'm not entirely sure why that is up there as well. But we will be going on into Okayama International Fall Circuit next week, Zach. That's going to be an exciting one for us. Yeah, 2 rounds to go, of course, after Okayama. We've got Summit Point Raceway, and then we finish up on Tsukuba Fall Circuit. I am really looking forward to Tsukuba. I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. Let's bring John McHutchison in for a chat here as well, the Scotsman who took his first victory, if I'm not mistaken, in the Clios this season. I'm sure he'll tell me differently. But welcome in, John. How are you, buddy?
Brilliant, James. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. It was your first victory, wasn't it?
It is. It is this season. I got one last season, but delighted with that tonight. I was enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Eventually.
It was an interesting 3 races, wasn't it? Let's be real about it. You know, there were some ups and downs. There was frills and spills. There was contact. It had a little bit of everything here this evening.
Absolutely, had everything. You know, and I seem to be in the mix of everything going about. But that's a Clio racing, you know, and you can do it and get away with it. But a door banging's fine by me. I don't mind it, you know, but I just don't like. Well, yeah, I'll not say it, but you know what I don't like. So
yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I definitely do. But you know, overall, going forward for you, John, just consolidating the season. Do you think?
I'm just having fun, James. Honestly, I'm not interested in championships or anything. I'm just going out to race each race as it comes. You know, maybe sneak a win here or there, cause a bit of carnage. You know, that's the way it goes.
Cause a bit of carnage. Well, let's hope not, John. I'd rather
Not intentional carnage.
Well, yeah, not intentional carnage, but I'd rather not cause carnage in general. But I think that's the nature of these Clios, isn't it? You can give them a little bit of door bang, a little bit of rubbing, and you know, rubbing is racing. That's what they tell me.
So they say, you know, but definitely you can't do this in the cars I normally drive, the aero cars. So it's a bit different for me. And like I say, I'm really enjoying the races.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Well, John, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
A shout out to myself today, James. I made 7K rating today, so happy with that.
Oh, big congrats on that one, buddy. Well done for you.
Thanks, man.
Oh,
that was me celebrating tonight.
Pat yourself on the back, tuck yourself in and read yourself a story, John. I'm sure you'll have a good evening's sleep on that one.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Take care, bud. I'll see you Thursday.
Bye. Bye.
Right, and next up, we're going to have a chat with Mr. Luke Maxwell. I think from his evening, I think he would describe it as a roller coaster at Alton Towers. He took pole position, slid down the order, and unfortunately, they've had some interesting racing around him. Luke, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I was pleased with the pace, but not with my race pace. I think it was fair enough there. Yeah, it was good fun, but yeah, I felt like I had some decent pace tonight, and I could have had, potentially more than one podium, hopefully, but didn't quite work out. Too many slowdowns in the first race, and then too many bumps and stuff in the second race. So yeah.
Yeah, but did you think in race one, this is it? This is my opportunity. I've got this. I've stuck it on pole. I can do this.
No. I think for me, I've got the 1 lap pace in the car now. I think I'm kind of nailing it a bit, with understanding the car a bit more on the tyres. But I seem to be, using the tyres up too much, I think, in the race. And then, towards the end of the races, I'm definitely lacking a bit of pace. I kind of caught up a little bit with John and Pete at the end there when they were battling, but then I couldn't quite get on them. So yeah, I mean, it's weird. The track obviously gets hotter and hotter, doesn't it, throughout the whole event? So towards the end, that's when I'm struggling the most. You know, in the radicals when it's hot, I'm not the best on the tyres. So yes, I need to be a bit gentler, I think.
Yes, but a learning season. Luke, do we think, if you're around for next season, do we think we're going to see a Luke Maxwell battle for the championship?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, yeah, Pete and Adam are so quick and consistent. They've obviously, got the car nicely under control. But yeah, I'd like to, this season I want to try and push to see if I can get the 3rd place. I don't know how that's going to look after tonight, but I'll keep going to the end, and then I'll see if we can mix it a bit more next season for sure.
Awesome stuff, Luke. Well, thanks so much for joining me there, buddy. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
No, can't think of anyone tonight. So yeah.
All right, mate. Have a good one, buddy, and I'll see you on Thursday.
Cheers, boys.
Take
Bye.
care. Right, now we're going to have a chat with Paul Godden here this evening. He had a 3rd place and another 3rd place in the races. Paul, welcome into the booth, dear sir. How are you?
Hi, James. Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Good. Interesting evening for you?
Yeah, it was. I don't really know. I don't really remember a lot of it, to be honest. It wasn't a lot of action, but it just seemed like it was. I didn't have the pace of Jackie. Was just on another level tonight, and it was just trying to keep clean and get some good points for the championship, without getting in the pros' way, and having a good battle with the AMs that were around the same pace as myself. With Ollie, I think I had a great battle with him. But race 1, I don't know if you saw it, where he messed it up on the last lap. Got a slow down with 1 minute to go. I haven't done all night, and then for some reason I got a slow down, and then and that was it. So me and Wayne were going to swap around. He wanted to give me the place back, but with John coming up like a steam train in the last corner, that all didn't go to plan, and then I think we got tagged by Jason, and that was that. But overall, it was a great evening's racing. It's not a track I enjoy. I find I've always struggled around here, and so just try and do the best I can, really.
Yeah, that's all we can ask for. Where do we see the ambition now, Paul, going into the final 3 rounds? Okayama, Summit Point, and Tsukuba. Do you reckon you can get the win, or do you reckon it's a little bit out of your reach at the moment?
I think after last week, where I messed up sitting in the pits on one of the races, I think the Drivers' Championship's probably out of reach now. Just on because I've lost. I just gave away 14 points roughly for no reason. So it was a mistake on my part, where I was too busy watching the replays to see what had actually happened. And then when I realised I only had 2 minutes to go, it was too late to get back out, unfortunately. So with that in mind, I'm not going to give up. Because like last season, I lost out by 1 point. So I'm not going to give up until the very end. And I'll be fighting with Jack, Jason, Daniel, and obviously Edward to try and see where we end up. But it's I don't really know where. It's just going to end up where we end up, and go from there, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Paul, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
Yeah, just shout out to all the drivers, obviously, for making it a great league. Because again, the racing tonight has been really, really clean and really close. And see yourself for putting on the broadcast and the league. And then thirdly to Wayne for being my wingman best he can, and trying to work together as a team to get up through the pack, because it makes it a little bit easier when we've got a teammate to help each other out.
Yeah, it does as well. Well, Paul, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy. And look forward to having a chat maybe next week when we tackle Okayama Fall.
Yeah, we'll do. Cheers.
Cheers. Well, there you go, Zach. Another end racing so far for us. How's it been for you this evening?
Fun, enjoyable. All 3 races had action, drama, excitement across the board. And Nurburgring definitely didn't disappoint whatsoever. Again, the slightly altered layout of the sprint Strecke. And in a week's time, we take to Okayama, which I'm sure will be no disappointment either.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be on Okayama. I think it's going to be an interesting one. We've got some great circuits coming up, Summit Point and Tsukuba here as well. But that's going to round out tonight's broadcast. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been James Parfitt alongside Zach Sweeney. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bells and do all that fancy jazz for free. But for now, from all of us here, thank you so much for joining us. Take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.